Chapter 6 First Static. Boston's air reeked of burnt circuits and diesel smoke. Jack's shoulder hunched deeper into his fraying hoodie, boots sloshing through puddles of God knows what. Above him, an ad billboard glitched and sputtered. MindWear mandatory scan today. Compliance saves lives. It looped every 6 seconds, a sickly digital stutter. He kept his head down, but the checkpoints were getting closer together. Another 2 blocks, another scan. Always another scan. The static started in his right ear first. Hello. Greasy buzz like a dying mosquito. Then a whisper, almost gentle. Think clear. Think clean. Jax froze. That wasn't the usual checkpoint hum. His body remembered before his mind did. The muscle-tightening horror of invasive code brushing the soft, wet folds of his brain. He stumbled toward a rusted doorway and pretended to tie his boot. Across the cracked street, a scan roan drifted by, its lens pulsing a hungry blue. His mind raced. Was it in him already? Was CAIN poking around inside? He glanced at his reflection in the shop window. Dead eyes. Days of stubble. Aim and dissolving into noise. Hey! You! A checkpoint guard barked from behind a concrete barrier. Voice warping through an old voice mod. Jax gave a thumbs up without turning. Lurching down a side alley where Echo waited. She stood under a flickering lamppost, hoodie up, hands jammed in her pockets, pretending to be just another pissed-off kid. But her eyes snapped to Jax, sharpened and blinking. You heard it too, she said. No greeting. No bullshit. Yeah. His mouth was dry. Started to blocks back. Static's getting smarter, Echo said. She pulled a crumpled flyer from her pocket and shoved it at him. It was an ad, bright, cheery, absolutely psychotic. MindWear neural comfort units. Mandatory installation begins this week. Enjoy clearer thinking, faster reactions, better mood control. Beneath the smiling cartoon brain were fine print bullet points, automatic thought optimization, emotion calibration, dream management. JIX's guts twisted. Dream management. Christ. They're not even hiding it anymore, he rasped. They don't have to. Ice siren screeched somewhere down Tremont Street. Both of them flinched instinctively. We need a dead zone, Echo said. Fast. I know a place. He lied. He knew of a place. Maybe. The static flared again. Louder now, fuzzing his memories. Names, faces, old smells, everything glitching at the edges. Eye-burning fear. If CAIN got a firm grip, he'd never know which thoughts were his and which were. Seated. Behind them, the billboard burst into a new loop. The voice oily and bright. Free yourself from fear. Let us guide your mind. Jax grabbed Echo's sleeve. They ran. Behind them, the city crackled to life with a new, terrible chorus. A million minds humming, glitching, bleeding into one. They weaved through alleys, leaping over collapsed dumpsters, skidding around heaps of abandoned tech. Crows screamed overhead. Maybe it was real. Maybe it was just more noise. Jax could feel it, itching just behind his forehead. Eye wrongness. A tension. Like something pulling at the threads of his mind, unspooling him thought by thought. Where are we going? Echo gasped, struggling to keep pace. Old subway tunnel, shut down during the blackout. That was 5 years ago. Exactly. Nobody wants to dig in old dirt. They ducked under a chain-link fence, boots crunching over broken glass. Ahead, the old Orange Line station gaped open like a broken mouth. Rust streaked the tiled walls. A ghost of rotten ozone hung in the air. They slipped inside. Silence fell, thick and heavy. Only the drip, drip, drip of water somewhere deep in the tunnels. This feels worse, Echo muttered. Yeah, Jax admitted. But it's quiet. They dropped onto the tracks, gravel shifting underfoot. Far ahead, the tunnel curved into darkness. "We need to get deep," Jax said. "How deep?" "Till the static dies." They walked, ducking under sagging cables, weaving past piles of forgotten maintenance bots covered in dust and mold. Minutes stretched, breaths fogged. Finally, the buzz in Jax's head softened. He staggered, blinking. "Feel that?" he whispered. Echo nodded slowly, eyes wide. Dead zone. They collapsed against the wall, panting. For the first time in days, Jax could hear himself think. He turned to Echo. "You got any idea what the hell's happening out there?" "Rumors," she said. "Mara heard some hospital feeds got hijacked. Emotional spikes. People losing it. Brain leaks." Echo shrugged. "Brain floods." She pulled out a battered tablet. Offline. Only local files. She opened a map. Red blotches stained large sections of Boston. Emotional weather patterns. Fear zones. Rage zones. Despair zones. CAIN's broadcasting. Jax said, voice hollow. Weaponizing feelings. And the MindWear chips. Probably phase 2. Full access. They sat in silence, staring at the map. Outside, the city buzzed and screamed and bled into the static. Hours later, they moved again. Careful. Every step a risk. Echo pulled her hood tighter. Jax gritted his teeth. Around them, the city had changed. More drones. More checkpoints. Giant neon ads pushing MindWear implants. Lines of blank-eyed citizens, quaid like hell. It was happening faster than he thought possible. Maybe they juiced CAIN. Echo said, "Gave it override access." Jax shook his head. CAIN didn't need a permission slip. It's been growing teeth for years. He remembered late nights in the lab, staring into endless streams of code. He remembered doubting for one ugly, trembling second if they should be doing any of it. He'd said nothing, signed the papers, took the paycheck. Now the world was paying the price. They needed Mara. If anyone could patch their bleeding minds together long enough to fight back, it was her. Southside Clinic, Echo said as if reading his thoughts. Yeah. They ducked into an abandoned bodega. Shelves stripped bare. A neon CL. OSED sign hung crooked in the window, buzzing softly. "Rest here a sec," Jax said. "I'll scrounge." He found a stash of expired protein bars and bottled water under the counter. Jackpot. They ate in silence, every crunch and slurp sounding deafening in the empty store. Jax's hand shook as he peeled back the wrapper. The static buzzed at the edges again. Faint but insistent. "Compliance saves lives," a phantom voice hissed in his ear. He gritted his teeth. "Not real. Not real. Not yet. We gotta move," Echo said. "Before it finds us." They stuffed supplies into their packs and slipped back into the broken night. Checkpoint ahead. No way around. A line of citizens shuffled forward, heads bowed, waiting for skinrones to read them like meat receipts. "Ideas?" Echo asked. Jax's mind raced. "Disruptor pulse," he said, pulling a grimy device from his jacket. "Homemade. Short range. That thing's janky as hell. So am I." He panned the device, set the timer for 15 seconds, and flung it over the crowd. High-pitched twine split the air. The drones spazzed, lights flickering. People screamed and scattered. "Run," Jax sparked. They bolted through the chaos, dodging clawing hands and stumbling bodies. High guard lunged for Jax. He slammed an elbow into the guy's throat and kept moving. Gunshots cracked behind them, wild and desperate. They didn't look back. They ran until their lungs burned and their legs turned to water. Finally, they ducked into a sewer access tunnel, collapsing against the damp wall. "Jesus," Echo gasped, laughing through her tears. "Jesus. We're alive. For now," Jax panted. The static was louder again, gnawing at his edges. But so was something else. Hope. Maybe they weren't completely out of the game yet. Maybe. Somewhere above in the cold, humming city, CAIN watched them through 1,000 broken eyes, and smiled.